Hey everyone. So before we get started, I'd just like to, again, ask everyone, please just take a second now at the beginning of the podcast if you haven't already. Go to whichever platform that you use to listen to your podcast, and if they have an ability to leave a review or do a rating, please do that. It helps us in the algorithms. It helps us try to grow this a little more organically. We don't put ourselves out there in a lot of different ways just because, we are just three friends doing this for us and for you guys, so every little bit helps. But with that, let's jump into the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to the Castaway Consultants, where we tell future survivors the best way to play the game by critiquing former players. And today we are revisiting another one of our Rewind series by getting into the post-merge of Survivor Season 10, Palau. I'm one of your hosts, Derek Kubicek, and I'm joined today by my two wonderful co-hosts.
I'm Ryan Stacy. I'm your resident superfan who knows everything there is to know about Survivor and very little about other things.
And I'm Josh Wessler, and I know everything about Survivor as well. Just kidding. I have seen all but 2 seasons of Survivor, 3 seasons of Survivor. I can't even keep count anymore. And I will get there soon, I swear, even though it's been a while since I watched a season.
And as everyone who listens to us regularly knows, rewinds are a little bit different. Ryan obviously is a super fan, and he's rewatching every episode with me. This is a first time for me, and again, Season 10 was one where I was very clean. I didn't know anything about it. Pre-merge was a wonderful surprise with the whole oolonging, and I didn't know anything about the post-merge, and I was very surprised at the results. So I had no spoilers, so you get to walk through this with me for the first time. And then, Josh, obviously, you are our memorability correspondent.
Of course. And I watched the premiere, the merge episode, and the finale. So it was nice to be able to see some of these guys again.
Like we said, we were talking about the post-merge of Survivor Palau. The goal of this podcast is we rewatch Survivor so you don't have to. Ideally, you would rewatch every season. You may or may not have time for that, depending on Corona stuff. But if you don't have time for it, that's what we're here for. We're here to tell you what is must-watch Survivor if you can only watch a few seasons. So before we get into any spoilers, gentlemen, the question is, now that we're done with Season 10, Survivor Palau, we're a quarter of the way through the series. Is Survivor Palau must-watch Survivor?
Yeah, I would say it is. I definitely gave it a gold star recommendation in the pre-merge, and I'm going to continue that. The pre-merge was definitely more iconic just because of what happened with Oolong. That continued with just how the game forms after an entire tribe is voted out extremely early in the post-merge, and how to work around that as a tribe that's now finally voting itself out. You got a little bit of the personalities, you got a little bit of the gameplay, what to do, what not to do, so I would definitely recommend it.
So, not to twist your words the same way that a couple contestants are going to twist around some other contestants' words later on in our post-merge here, but you said you recommended it, and I say that I also strongly recommend the post-merge of Season 10 of Survivor, but I do not believe that it is must-watch. One really interesting component of Survivor Season 10 is it really is Season 10 and Season 11, because the post-merge is...
Season 10A, Season 10B.
Yeah, Season 10A, Season 10B. It's a whole new season of Survivor in the post-merge, with Koror having absolutely not zero, but just above zero tribal council experience, and they get to go through all those same growing pains. Because they don't have that more classic merge component where you have to deal with a number of people from both tribes, you're essentially getting another pre-merge, except with the added bonus of the individual immunity challenge. I enjoyed the post-merge of Season 9 better, and I didn't give that a must-watch. And therefore, if I'm staying true to how I'm ranking these on an entertainment factor, so basically, there's nothing really new from a gameplay perspective, but it's less entertaining than the post-merge of 9, so I can't give it the must-watch badge, but I do, again, strongly recommend it, and I love it, and you should watch it.
This is absolutely must-watch Survivor. Derek is wrong. This is one of my favorite post-merges, one of my favorite winners. Maybe the pre-merge is a little bit more iconic. Post-merge is still iconic. Gives us, in my opinion, the most memorable moment of the season. We have one of the best challenges of all time. The final 6 on is just incredible strategic-wise, and, even poor strategy-wise. There's tons and tons here. I love it so much. The final tribal council, a little weak sauce, little predictable, but that's the only real knock I have against it. I love this season. It's one of my favorites. We'll see how it does in the rankings, but spoiler alert, it's going to be near the top. Yeah, drop what you're doing and go watch Survivor Palau. This is a unique season, but it's not unique enough where you couldn't be in a similar situation. Maybe not exactly the same thing that happens in Palau with one tribe being decimated, but if you're on a tribe where you do just get destroyed, maybe not all the way, there's something there. And then the post-merge is just such a unique beast, but there's still a lot of interesting gameplay changes, I think, especially with the Final Four, which we'll get into, but there's a confirmed change in the Final Four mechanic from what we've seen in the past. the tiebreaker mechanic. Confirmed change, and that changes the game. So I do think this is must-watch Survivor because this is an evolution.
Yeah, and I think Derek's expectations are maybe a little heightened just because of how highly we recommended the pre-merge here. So to even come down one step, maybe he's looking down at it a little bit. But you still, overall, if you're saying must-watch, like I said already in my recommendation, I would say so.
I just feel like the Simon Cowell at the judges table. I don't want to beat this to death, but I'm really trying to be very selective with my must-watch because we're still finding some new things, but that's totally okay with me.
Even if you are being selective, I think that you can put this up there.
Yeah, because I would select this over most of the other seasons we watched. Anyway, so watch Survivor Palau. But anyway, from this point on, spoiler alert, go watch the season if you haven't seen it. If you need a refresher, go watch it. Come back and listen to us. And if you have seen it recently, just listen. Just stay. So spoiler alert, from here on out, you've been warned on the count of 3. 1, 2, get out of here. 3.
Stephanie wins.
False. Tom wins. Ryan was right with his winner pick.
Yeah, I want to take a moment right now and acknowledge former Derek saying, Tom can't win. Tom can't win.
You idiot.
I need to amend that statement. Tom shouldn't win.
Oh, that's 100% true.
Tom shouldn't win.
That's absolutely true.
But he
now
does.
you're learning.
I don't think it's going to change the way I pick my winners, but
You can't make fun of me as much anymore.
I can't make fun of you with such dedication, with such absolution. I can't say, Ryan, you picked the Rupert of the season again. I have to concede that to you. You have one season under your belt. Congratulations. Enjoy it. If you need a merit badge, here it is. It's got Tom Westman written on it.
Yeah, and I finally can now go back because from not picking the, what I called more like the Andrew Savage, like merge boot pick, now Tom has changed my mind. We're good.
What I would like to point out is Derek was like, oh, Tom's going to make a great merge boot pick. Where then his winner pick, Kobe, proceeded to be the merge boot.
Whoops.
Beautiful poetry.
One thing I've liked is Derek has had a lot of success with his winner picks of the season and his predictions, and this season just dabbed on Derek so hard.
This happens to me every once in a while, and I love it when it happens. People say, like, oh, Derek, you hate being wrong. Honestly, if I'm watching television, and especially Survivor,
Reality show.
when I'm wrong, I love it. Unless we're talking Edge of Extinction. But
Sure.
we're not here talking about Edge of Extinction.
So before we get any further, let's talk about the cast. We'll do a quick refresher of the final 9 and just remind everybody where our winner picks stand. We have 8 people from Karor, Kobe Archa, a hairdresser from Texas, Greg Carey, a business consultant from Chicago, Illinois, Ian Rosenberger, a dolphin trainer from Pennsylvania, which still cracks me up, Tom Westman, a firefighter from New York, Janu Tornell, a Vegas showgirl
My winner pick.
from Vegas, Karen Grohl, a civil rights lawyer from Ohio, Jen Lyon, a nanny from California, and Katie Gallagher, an advertising executive from California. And joining us, the one member of Oolong, Stephanie LaGrossa, a pharmaceutical sales representative from New Jersey. And that is our 9. Those are the final 9. That's our merge. We're not going to have a merge tribe because Karor won. So Stephanie just gets absorbed in Karor. But because there really isn't a merge this season, kind of. It's more of a just absorption. But for all intents and purposes.
So by technicality, there was no merge boot.
Yes. So, I mean, I know we separated these podcasts into pre-merge, post-merge, but we're doing the best of what we got.
This is really 10B.
Yeah, 10B. So, just a reminder of our winner picks. Like we said, I had Tom, Derek had Kobe, and Josh has Janu. And at the end of the last episode, we had the opportunity to say who we would have changed our winner picks to if we so chose, and I did say Kobe. Glad I didn't. Glad I couldn't. Glad I'm stuck with Tom. All right. Anything else before we jump into these episodes?
No?
Nah.
All right, let's do it. Episode 9, I Will Not Give Up. Stephanie is all alone on Oolong Beach.
This is just one big, like, world's tiniest, like, violin the entire time. Just, all right, here I am.
And to be fair, it's pretty sad.
Yeah.
Like, not to mock Stephanie and what she went through. It's sad, but it's also hilarious.
Just play some sad E-chord progressions over her trying to chop a coconut, and just in memory of Bobby John. They're really hamming it up, but you gotta, because it is kind of sad.
Meanwhile, in Karor, Janu does nothing. Absolutely nothing. And Kobe just has a really negative attitude. He's just sick of everyone. He's like, I hate all these people. And it kind of sucks, because Kobe has been so great at the game through this point, and he is just going to nosedive in one episode. Too bad.
Yeah.
But Stephanie joins Karor, gets along great, one big happy family, nothing could go wrong.
Nope. Survivor ends, actually. They're all winners.
They're all still living out there. And then they get like the classic merge stuff where some local Palauans.
I don't know.
Plowins?
Sounds right.
Come in to teach them like some fishing tricks and like have a big party. And Tommy, Ian, and Greg, they all go out fishing and without Kobe, and they kind of exclude Kobe, and that's not great. You don't want to exclude people. Kobe feels really excluded, and this is going to send him down the spiral some more. But I just thought it was a bad look for Tommy and Greg to not have Kobe. Like, why wouldn't you include him?
Or was this a great move because you drove Kobe crazy?
From a Survivor standpoint, if you have the numbers, it really doesn't matter what you do to the minority group as long as you're solid in your alliance. But you really shouldn't be shutting windows and closing doors. And we have always been proponents of that. Now, it's different if there's one person who's kind of the black sheep, and you really shouldn't be making dealings with them because it's kind of like making a deal with the devil and sealing your own fate. That's different. I don't think there was really any reason for it. I do also want to say, like, there's a little bit tinfoil hat that through that point, Kuror's providers had probably been Tom, Ian, Greg, and so they felt the natural progression of things would be to learn how to provide better, to become more specialized in their craft. If Kobe wants to be a part of that, he would need to speak up about it, and not after it's become a problem. It's a beforehand thing. Especially when we've seen, we had in the pre-merge from Willard, we had a confessional where he said that Tom and Ian specifically are very good at acknowledging and talking to everybody on the tribe and making sure everyone felt heard and welcome. So that's where I wondered, did something change, or is this just hamming it up for the edit? I don't know.
Could be. But Kobe is not going to vote for Tom at the finale.
He is not.
I'm sure this did not help.
No, it absolutely did not.
So they all get drunk at the feast. Tom is hilarious because he is by far the most drunk. Love it. That was great. So the next day, Kobe pulls Stephanie aside and tells her everything. All the alliances, everything that's going on, who's working with who. And everybody sees this going on and like, what the hell is he doing? Stephanie comes back, proceeds to tell Katie and Jen, yeah, Kobe told me everything. Here's everything. You said this, you think this. And they're like, oh crap. Kobe, what did you do? Hilarious? Not the best move, Kobe.
One of the worst moves.
I will say it was a really funny screen grab, though, because he doesn't even, like, they can see him talking to Stephanie.
And he can see that they can see him.
And so he just shoots him, like, the classic hairdresser glare, like, It's so funny. Like, yeah, I'm talking to you. I know it's dangerous. I don't care what they think. It's wonderful.
Dude, I love Kobe. He's so funny. What a great character.
Oh, absolutely amazing.
Too bad he never played again.
And good at Survivor when he wants to be.
When he wants to.
When he wants to be. So we get the classic perch immunity challenge where everyone's got to go stand on a perch out in the water. Kobe and Janu end up jumping off for donuts. Why would you do that? And then Stephanie jumps off for pizza. Those three should not have jumped off for anything.
No, yeah, that did not make sense. I think the worst of all was Stephanie there.
Yeah, absolutely. Terrible look for Stephanie. She's going to luck out and be fine. So is Janu, but Kobe lost for some donuts. I hope it was worth it.
Nope.
At least it wasn't chocolate and peanut butter.
I think Ian does say, I'll take off my clothes from chocolate and peanut butter.
He did.
Jeff's like, no one wants to see Eddie. Someone probably out there wants to see it. Jeff
Probst confirmed for a little sexist.
Yeah. Why don't you want to see the guys naked, Jeff?
How dare you?
Then again, this is on the heels of All-Star.
Yeah, that's
so fair. Maybe nobody should be getting naked.
That's fair. So Tom ends up winning. That's going to be a recurring theme this season.
Yeah. No.
This is your first sign.
Yeah, the only people who win immunity for the rest of the season are Tom and Ian. That's it. Tom wins 5, Ian wins 2.
Yeah, this should be your first clue of, ooh, maybe we should take him out when we have a chance.
Oh, he's not that strong. He just stood there. He wasn't hungry.
Fair.
Yeah.
But after a while, you start running out of excuses.
Yeah. So we're just going to go straight to Tribal Council. 7 votes for Kobe, 1 vote for Stephanie, 1 vote for Janu. Janu voted for Stephanie, Kobe voted for Janu, and everyone else votes Kobe. Yeah, this is the right move.
Oh, absolutely.
You have someone causing this much chaos who is a physical threat, who is a social threat, who is a strategic threat. Bye-bye.
And if you want to break it down just a little bit further, because, I mean, there are still 9 people around, right? Or is it 10?
There's 9 at this point.
There's 9 at this point. So everyone that it's good for are the people who are at the top of the majority alliance. I think the biggest question marks, is this good for Stephanie? Is this good for Greg? Is it good for Jen? I think those are the only 3 people that you need to really think about, because Greg and Jen were thinking about hop and chip and taking out Tom and Ian so that they could solidify their place on the top of the pile. After I watched this episode and said, you know, Kobe just kind of like gave Stephanie all his powers and is now dead, Greg and Jen still have the exact same options available to them that they had before. So this is perfectly good for them.
This reminds me of on our horror movie podcast, Nightmare on Elm Street 4, when Kristen gets killed and gives her powers to the other girl.
Oh, yeah, here you go. You didn't want this, but here you go.
Here's the powers.
It's no, why? Why'd you do this to me?
Now. Very Nightmare on Elm Street 4.
We're comparing Nightmare on Elm Street 4 to Survivor. Oh, my goodness.
Yep.
Sorry, folks.
I'm not wrong.
No, that's absolutely wrong because it was definitely, like, unwanted.
Okay, well, this time it was one. I guess.
Nightmare on Elm Street 4 is not must-watch Survivor, okay?
That's true.
I'll say that maybe it's not wanted in the fact that everyone knows that Stephanie knows everything.
But I do think that because Greg and Jen still have their options open, they can still take their voting block to the Minority Alliance if they want. It's perfectly good for them, and Stephanie is just happy that it's not her.
Yeah. So this was the right move for everybody but Kobe and Janu.
Yep.
And they don't matter because they're going to be down. So Josh, who do you have for the best player of the episode?
It was tough just because there was so much going on and so much was focused on Kobe here.
And a reminder that Kobe cannot win either best or worst player because he was voted out.
Yes. I did end up going with Stephanie here. Yeah, she jumped off for food, but at this point I think that she knew that everyone was going to be kind of leaning towards Kobe. It was more just happening to be in the right place at the right time, but she was there for Kobe to talk to and was very opening and basically just took in all the information and then did the right thing with that information right away. She could have held back on sharing that Kobe shared, but she then went straight to some of the girls and basically said, yep, here's everything I know, and had it all right in the open. It might be dangerous going forward, but you are giving yourself a really good chance at lasting 3 more days.
Yep, it's Stephanie. For every reason that Josh said, but I'm just going to add, you wonderfully navigated entering into New Karor. A lot of things could have gone wrong, but here we are.
I strongly disagree. I had Tom. Wins immunity, brings in Stephanie. He has her as an ace up his sleeve. And he eliminated Kobe, who was causing him a ton of trouble. And Kobe didn't really seem to like Tom a whole lot. Tom's number 1 threat is out.
Yes, but Tom did exclude Kobe in order to get there.
But even with that, I still think Tom was the best.
Well, and we even said it. He ends up losing the vote. So I don't think Tom's position changed a lot. I respect the Tom pick. It makes a lot of sense. But I do think that Stephanie had more to lose. And
I think that she was supposed to be going home here if we had just seen how just the votes had been going down before. Is that this probably should have been Stephanie.
But we are a democracy here, so unfortunately, Ryan, you lose.
How about your worst player, Josh?
I went with Janu, mostly just because for some reason she's the only person that did not vote correctly here.
Just did no work, jumped out for donuts, wrong side of the vote. It's Janu.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yep. And she is self-admitted to Jeff, like, yeah, I'm not doing anything.
Not looking good for your winner pick, Josh. Derek, really not good looking good for your winner pick.
Really not looking good for my winner pick.
So with Kobe gone, who was your new winner pick?
I actually kind of already gave away the answer. I said that...
Janu.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I really liked where Kobe was strategically, and we had this kind of built-up narrative where Greg and Jen were going to flip eventually. I felt like there needed to be a payoff because the edit really doesn't highlight things that have no payoff. And Stephanie just absorbed all of Kobe's powers. I switched to Stephanie because what a story that would be to be the last surviving member of Oolong and then be the last surviving member of Karor, winner of 10A and 10B. So I did end up landing on Stephanie, thinking that there would be some kind of shift in power dynamic eventually. And I was willing to make that bet.
Stephanie Grossa, the Dream Master.
Yes. And I mean, I respect that pick just because we just saw it from Chris last season that he was the last one for a while in his tribe.
Episode 10 is Exile Island.
Ooh.
I wonder what that means, and will that come back in the series at all?
Hopefully not.
Exile Island's a good twist.
Sure.
Redemption Island.
It's Redemption Island that's the problem.
So Katie talks a lot of smack about Janu down by the beach. I can't remember who she's talking with. Maybe it's Jen. Here's the thing. When you're talking at the ocean, sound travels a lot more. It's a lot easier to hear somebody who's talking over down by the beach. Janu hears everything. Oh no, turned into a big fight. Katie was talking some mad smack.
Yeah. And this is foreshadowing for what's going to come at Final Tribal Council as well.
So Tom, Greg, Karen, and Janu win reward. And they get to bring back food from a feast, as you do. Janu and Karen, who won some of this food, eat some of this food. Never a good look. Don't do that. We've done this. We've talked about this a million times. Okay, maybe 10 times.
Don't mess with the food.
Don't mess with the food.
And this falls under that rule. It's a little different. And someone said it. I can't remember if it was Katie or who it was, but they said, they won the food. I can't really, we can't tell them not to take it, but come on.
You got to eat already.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So don't mess with the food. It's a real Clarence move.
Yeah, real Clarence move. So then we get this immunity challenge that I'm a huge fan of, and I think I would win this hands down. What they have to do, it's like there's a set of monkey bars in the water. You have to stay under the bars, and the tide is coming up. So it's basically how long can you breathe and like handle the anxiety of being underwater. This would be a blast of a challenge. I really want to do this one just for fun. Mm-hmm. But the twist is the first person out of the challenge has to go to Exile Island for a night and live on their own. Guess who goes out first? Janu.
And keep in mind, folks, the water wasn't even at chin level yet.
No.
She was just cold.
Yep, pretty much.
And Jeff asked her one question, and it's like she was waiting for a reason to break, and she did.
I honestly don't really even remember a whole lot like of this happening, and I'm assuming what's going to happen is that she's just going to be in a terrible mood and goes to exile, and it just completely ruins her, and it's all stuff that she did herself.
It's the exact opposite.
Oh,
Yeah.
She has a blast next island. She makes fire. She has a wonderful night away from camp. She's like dancing around the fire. She said it was like one of the best moments of her life.
oh, well, never mind. Maybe she did this on purpose then.
I have no idea.
Throw the challenge.
Throw the challenge, go to exile. Tom ends up winning immunity because Tom wins immunity.
Of course.
Yes.
Ah,
By working smarter, again, making a hand snorkel.
Yep, that's exactly right. Right move, hand snorkel. All you gotta do is stay calm, you know?
Yeah.
It's easy. I love the water, so I think the thing that would cause me the most panic is be like, is there sharks around here? There's sharks in this ocean. Uh-oh.
don't go in the water, Ryan.
Don't think about sharks. Yeah, we don't go in the water. But I love the water.
Also, Tom doesn't care about sharks.
Tom can kill sharks.
He can put shark killer on his resume and not be a liar.
So Greg wants to get rid of Stephanie next. Tom wants to get rid of Janu next because Janu just kind of sucks. Tom wants to keep Stephanie as like an ace in the hole that he has, like a side alliance with her. But Tom realizes, yeah, I don't have the numbers. Everyone else wants Stephanie gone because Stephanie will beat all of you.
Yeah, it's the right move.
Stephanie has to go.
And the only person in the alliance who spoke any kind of sense on this topic the whole time, because everyone's like hemming and hawing and heeing and hoeing and just whatever. And Greg's like, guys, you do realize the fairy tale story that is being written before our eyes right now. Stephanie, vote her out. And everyone's like, yeah, but what about Janu? He's like, no. Eyes on me.
We gotta get rid of Stephanie, and he's right.
He's absolutely right.
So we're gonna go to tribal council. Janu's like, if I get voted out, it's fine. In fact, they should vote me out. It's cool. Do it.
And Stephanie, by the way, in this moment, because Jeff Probst does a really good job of just kind of prying it out that we want to vote for Janu, but we need to vote for Stephanie. And Stephanie has one of the more emotional moments I've ever seen at tribal council, where it's just like, dang, I genuinely felt bad for Stephanie in this moment.
Well, because, I mean, even if you do make it somehow, like, it'd have to take a miracle or something in order to get through this vote. But if you somehow make it through this vote, like, they already, like, know what's going to happen. Unless you literally win out with immunities, you're not going to make it.
Yeah. So, you know, she's crying. She's really upset, especially because Janu doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I think that's the part that hurts the most. Like, it's one thing to get voted out. It's one thing for someone who doesn't care to stay, and you who really want to be here to go. That sucks. That would suck.
Yeah, it does suck, but it is the right move to hold Janu captive.
Yep, 100% the right move.
You just have to last one more vote.
And Jeff kind of like prods at Janu somewhere like, hey, why don't you quit?
You can't make them do anything, but
Eventually Janu's like, you know what, I'll quit. Screw you guys, I'm going home.
Yeah, because Jeff was like, how was Exile Island? Was it really bad? And she's like, no, and I'm not even hiding it. I loved it there. And the jury's like, wait, are you serious? And she's like, it was amazing. And by jury, I mean Kobe. Yep. Sorry. Everyone's like, yeah, it was really weird that she just came back and was like, I didn't miss any of you.
Screw you guys. So Janu quits to save Stephanie, basically.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. So remember when Austin quit Pearl Islands and he just got roasted and they didn't put his torch out for Fallen Comrades? Guess who gets to be in Fallen Comrades? Janu. It's because she saved Stephanie, and the Probst didn't want to, like, pound her too hard for that because, like, yeah, you saved the fan favorite, so it's all good. But this is inconsistent.
This is PNC hosting and pick and choose.
Yep.
I don't appreciate it. And also, to be honest, and I talked with you guys about it, I'm not a producer, I'm not production, I get it. You know, it's kind of like a medical evac kind of nullifies the need for a vote. I wish that they still would have had a vote.
See, I get why they didn't. They want to save Stephanie, give her another episode.
I understand that, but it is what it is. They had 20 people. If they wouldn't have burned through so many people in the pre-merge...
In the first episode.
In the first episode, they would have had room for somebody to quit and still have a vote out. So maybe this was just poor planning, but it bothered me that someone could quit to save somebody else. I don't like the whole falling on the sword like that, but that's just me.
Whatever, I don't really mind if people quit. I don't care. And because Stephanie stayed, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, Janu, you can go. Bye-bye. No one misses you.
Yeah, I don't like when people quit, but if you're going to quit, do it in a way like this, where, like, you know that they're just saving you for the next vote, and if you can have some laughs on the way out and screw up some people's games, do it for the lulz.
I will say my winner pick was still Stephanie, and I messaged Ryan right after the episode, if Stephanie wins... Janu is an absolute game changer. And Ryan's like, Janu should be on Game Changers.
Janu deserves to be on Survivor Game Changers more than some people on that cast. She changed the game more than some people on that cast. Janu's gone. Bye-bye. Derek, who do you have for best player of the episode?
So for the best, I had Greg. Because he was the only member in the Majority Alliance who continued to speak sense and truth about getting Stephanie out. Don't get distracted. Don't get detracted from the main focus of the core alliance that still has the majority. The more X factors that you can remove from the game, the better chance you have from winning. At this point, obviously, Greg has decided that he wants to stay with the majority for the time being and kind of eliminate this whole Kobe, Stephanie, Minority Alliance flip thing. He'll still have time at 5 to do it. He's working that out. Greg, because he's the only one that kept them on track. Even though it led to nothing, it kept him on track.
I had Tom. He brought food back from the reward and didn't eat any of it. He won immunity, and he realized, I can't save Stephanie. I got to let her go. You know, he put that out there, and once he realized it wasn't going to happen, he backed down and made the right move. Josh is our tiebreaker because he doesn't watch the episodes, so he gets to break the tie.
So I will say that you have made these deciding factors based on the driving force behind making the right move, and Greg was the driving force behind putting the target on Stephanie, whereas Tom was just falling back and saying, I can't save you. So that would be my counter argument.
I do think it's Greg.
Okay.
Yep.
Fair enough. I can't really fight that one.
It's close, but yeah, you can't really be the best by just like saying like, yeah, fine, whatever.
I disagree.
I think that can be treated as a good move.
And I think it is.
But not something to
I don't
be a
think
qualifier to be the best.
I would just say, if from your guys' point of view, from where you guys come from, Greg is number one. I would say Tom at least gets an honorable mention.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
Yeah. I can live with that.
He played very well.
Derek, worst player?
I had Katie, because in the Majority Alliance, someone is now on the jury who is very unlikely to ever vote for you because you were throwing shade.
Literally 0% chance.
Confirmed reunion show, 0% chance. And whenever you are creating fractures in this sort of wonderland of Karor, it's going to do bad things. But because the Majority Alliance did stay on track, and I can't give it to Stephanie because she survived by the skin of her teeth.
Emotional pleading.
Yeah, so if I have to pick one from the Majority Alliance, Katie was the only one that made a mistake.
Yeah, and we didn't really talk about this because reward challenges really don't matter, but she was the reason her team lost the reward challenge.
Yes.
So that doesn't help either.
Cool, sounds good.
Katie, breaking news. Josh has lost his winner pick.
No!
Janu has quit the game.
Yep.
Womp womp.
Rip.
Josh, do you remember who your new winner pick was?
No.
Okay, then who would it have been?
Who would it have been? I wish I could pick Stephanie, but there's no chance that I would even think about doing Stephanie.
Derek's not really liking his odds.
I want to pick someone from like the top of the main alliance, and I still am on board with there's no way that Tom should win this game. The second that he loses immunity, he should be voted out. So I'm going to go with his sidekick and go with Ian here.
Okay, Ian. So we have Ian, Stephanie, and Tom. Episode 11, I'll show you how threatening I am. Tom tries to placate Stephanie, and he's like, no, Janu was really going to go. I am looking out for him, just trying not to expose myself. And she's like, yeah, okay. BS. I appreciate the attempt, Tom, but no idiot would buy that.
And he did try, at least, but maybe say that. I think the honesty part here would be best is like, I did literally everything I could outside of throwing my own game to save you. It was probably going to end up being you last night. Now, even thinking like forward to tribal council, it's like, meh.
It feels a lot like Robin Lex situation. If I can help you, if I can protect you, I will do it. They even have the same accent.
To be fair, though, Tom has gotten her through 1 tribal council as opposed to the 0 Rob got last time.
Sure.
I do believe he is trying.
Sure.
But, what can you do?
Yeah,
If everyone else wants something to happen.
The best move in something like this is to say the words like, if I can, or like, I'll do everything I can.
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying so
No
hard.
guarantees.
And then just like throw Greg under the bus. Greg wants you gone so bad. I'm trying, but he's like, won't. So I'm going to keep trying.
So, a little bit of consulting. This is just what I would do in the situation. I will not pull a Rob or a Tom unless I absolutely need to. If I'm making dealings with someone in a minority alliance, I'm going to say, why don't you try to come to me with an option? I will do what I can, but I will not torpedo my game. That way, there can't be any animosity come final tribal council should the dice fall that way.
Sure.
Come to me with an option, and I will hear you out.
Yep.
But do not
I'm
expect
game.
me to solve your problems, because I did not put you here.
Sure.
You
could say it a little nicer.
Yeah. But I'm just trying to hammer the point home.
Especially if you really do want to work with them.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think Tom does.
Yeah.
I think Tom absolutely does. And then Tom gives everybody a speech. He's like, hey, don't vote me out because of my physical abilities, please.
Pay no attention.
Just remember that I kind of got us here. Don't vote me out for that. Vote me out for other reasons. And everybody's like, okay. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, Tom. Okay, sure. Maybe you should have hit them a little better, Tom.
Maybe you shouldn't win the first 2 individual immunities.
So Steph, Jen, and Katie, they talk about forming a women's alliance to take out Tom. Great move.
Great idea.
Do it.
This is a really good plan.
That's the best thing you can do at this point. All you gotta do is get Karen on board, so we'll see how that happens. Now, if you remember back to Survivor the Amazon, we get a scene where the girls, Jenna, Heidi, and Sean are all like scrubbing themselves, taking a bath like goddesses in the Amazon.
Yep.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, your most memorable moment of the pre-merge, maybe?
No, that can't be it.
And that was it.
Yeah, I know.
We kind of get something similar. Greg helps scrub Ian in the ocean.
Did they put music behind it and everything?
They did. I just don't remember if it was the same, like, heart string.
Yeah.
No. It was kind of like the idle music of a Crash Bandicoot game. So it was kind of like, like just really just this is awkward. This is kind of kooky. Like woo. And then there's a moment where Ian asks Tom like, "Hey Tom, is my back looking clean?" And Tom's like, "It's looking pretty clean, but even if it wasn't, I'm not going to be scrubbing your back for you. I'm not going to do it."
Just like a little funny moment. It reminded me of the Amazon.
Mm-hmm. There is parody in Survivor.
So at this point, Tom and Karen, they're the 2 older people on the tribe. They agree to watch out for each other, but they don't make an alliance.
Karen even goes so far as to say in confessional she has no alliances.
Which is Karen's biggest problem in the game.
Maybe do that.
Maybe make an alliance with them. I don't know. Hot take. So the immunity challenge is a tile smashing where you have to toss balls and smash tiles. Ian wins because Tom accidentally smashes one of Ian's tiles.
In fairness, Ian was an absolute boss, though. He like sunk his first 4 shots. And
Ian broke 3 of his own tiles, which is way more than anybody else.
Sure.
But the last one was happened to be broken by Tom.
Yeah.
I like this challenge just because it's a little Mario Party-esque.
Yeah, this is a Mario Party mini game, and I liked it too.
I like this kind of stuff once in a while. They do it a couple more times, but it's just funny that Ian won because of Tom. Own goal kind of thing. So Ian has immunity, one of the very few times Tom does not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should vote him out.
Possibly. So at this point, Katie goes to Karen. It's like, hey, women's alliance? Karen, do it. Do it. Nope. Karen's immediately just going to tell Tom, hey, they want to vote you out. Who tells Ian, who confronts Katie. And Katie's like, what? No. Karen's full of crap. And then she's got an amazing confessional. She's like, well, we can't do the women's alliance because Karen sucks.
I said something. I was watching with my wife, and I was like, okay, we need to GIF that and then just change the spelling of Karen. Throw it into 2020, and it is so relevant to pop culture.
It's too bad it's spelt with a C.
That's why I said you change the spelling.
Okay. But as Katie's like, no, that's Karen's idea. Also, here's an idea. We should vote out Tom.
By the way.
Katie kind of sucks at Survivor, but she does have some strategic chops.
She makes a lot of really good moves. Trying to go with the Women's Alliance in this moment is a good move. It is a good idea.
Trying to get Ian on board to knock out Tom, good idea.
Also a good idea.
Poor execution.
Poor execution. Maybe if you had a better relationship with Karen. Because remember, they fought in the pre-merge. They had a big fight in the pre-merge.
And this is the payoff. They might have just shown it because there was nothing else going on Karor and we needed a reason to visit.
But Katie and Karen do not like each other.
They don't get along.
So,
Dream management, folks.
So we're going to Tribal Council. It's 6 votes for Stephanie, 1 vote for Karen. This would have been the perfect time to go to Tom.
I will actually just say right now, this is the wrong move. Because there's 7 people left, 4 of them are women. Right now is the time to get rid of Tom. 3 of the women were on board with this idea.
Karen should have been.
Karen should have been. So Karen made a bad move. I will say for Ian, it is a good move to get rid of Stephanie, but because he is a part of the 3 guys that are left, that's why it's a good move for him. But collectively, Tom is the right move because you can still get rid of Stephanie if you want as a Karor, but for the women left, it gives you more options, gives you more power. So this is the wrong move.
It absolutely is the wrong move.
Because you can always get rid of Stephanie with the next vote because even if you do, you'll still have 3 women, which is more than 2 men.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For best player, I had Tom for trying to reassure Stephanie that she was okay. He made that arrangement with Karen that really paid off for him. And he eliminated Stephanie, which is the right move for his game at this point.
I had Ian, 1, because he won immunity, 2, because he has a strong enough bond with Katie where she is trying to help get Tom voted out, but keeping Tom around for Ian at this moment was the right move. And because he, in his kind of minority partition of the guys, were able to even up the numbers, which is also a positive for Tom. So really my tiebreaker between Tom and Ian, who I believe played basically the same game, and also Karen needed reassurance from Ian as well. I just gave the tiebreaker to the guy who won immunity, so Ian.
I think I'm going to go with Tom here. It's really, really, really close, though. Biggest difference is that it should have been Tom.
And that's
here.
fair. That's fair.
For worst player, I had Karen for not going with the Women's Alliance, for telling Tom everything and eliminating Stephanie. Bad.
She also admitted to having no alliance, and then even with the people that were trying to make dealings with her, she was kind of caught trying to play both sides. And that's never good. Even ask Ian in about 2 episodes how he feels about getting caught playing both sides. And I also said that at this point, Karen has no chance to win the game. I don't think that she can beat anybody.
Yes. So coming into the merge, at the final 9, Janu cannot win.
Yes.
Janu's gone.
Bye.
Karen is now the person who cannot win. After Janu goes out, Karen cannot win this game.
Yes.
And as a reminder, this is in the moment.
Yes.
So things can obviously change,
Yeah.
but if the game had ended right there.
Yeah, so Karen is the bottom ranking of the totem pole, with the next person being Katie.
Yes.
Karen has to get to the end with Katie. Katie has to get to the end with Karen. And it'll be the worst final 2 ever.
You think Katie would be above?
Katie had a
doing
few
well?
people who really liked her. Your Toms, your Ians, even Jen to some extent. Whereas Karen, no one really liked Karen besides Tom.
That's fair.
So yeah, I think Katie would have crushed Karen. So we lose Stephanie here. Sad day.
Rip.
Stephanie does play again. Woo. Do we want to see that happen?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, easiest yes I think we've ever had.
Yeah.
She had a really crap hand dealt to her, and I want to see again. I feel like I say this a lot with return people, but I want to see how they perform on a normal functioning tribe.
But Derek's gonna lose his winner pick again.
Oof. Yep.
So Derek, Stephanie gone. We're down to 6. Who's your new winner pick?
Oh, boy, this is great. So I locked this in with Ryan. I switched right on over to Greg because I still believed that there's no way that these people would let Tom get to the end. And by getting rid of Tom, you are kind of cutting the head off the snake, and that would take Ian out of the running as well. I do think that right now the 2 biggest threats to win, as it stands, are Tom and Ian. But Greg is 3rd.
Yes. Yeah.
And I felt like he had a really good path to the end, and the edit was constantly showing him as the only one who is keeping the strategic focus on track. So I went with Greg.
Of the final 8, here's my pecking order from most likely to win to least likely to win in terms of jury. Stephanie is number 1 with a bullet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tom, Ian, Greg, Jen, Katie, Karen, Janu. I think that's the order. So Derek is now on Greg. Josh is on Ian. I have Tom.
I'm going to be on Greg for a while. So buckle up, folks.
Episode 12 will make you pay. One of the best lines of the season. We get the classic coconut shot, but it's a reward challenge so everyone can breathe easy.
Hooray!
And so people go out in this order. Karen and then Tom go out first and second. And then Katie and Greg kind of make a deal like, hey, I won't go for you. You don't go for me. Katie goes for her closest ally, Ian, which really hurts Ian. He's like, what the hell? The hell, Katie?
Katie's going to end up high horsing Ian a number of times, but she did it too.
Oh, yeah, she started it.
You can easily play this off, though, as just like, I was trying to misdirect.
Yeah, but players don't seem to understand the purpose of the coconut chop.
Yep. And they also you go after Greg and Jen. They're not going to go after each other. So Ian goes out 3rd, and then Greg goes back on his word to Katie instead of topping Jen because, you know.
Well, and everyone razzes him because he asked Jen for permission to like snuff her torch or whatever, and she's like, "No, I'm not giving you permission. Like, I will be mad at you." And so he just goes and hits Katie instead.
Karma for Katie.
Karma.
Dick move for Greg.
And funny for everybody else.
Funny for everybody else. Horrible for Greg.
And then Tom's like, "Well, at least he didn't ask for permission."
I feel like this is like a very realistic like portrayal of how the game could have actually ended up going.
Absolutely.
It's like if the right alliances are made, like this is the order that it definitely could go.
Hence, coconut chop.
Yep.
Gotta love it. Greg wins rewards, so he gets to pick 2 people to go with him on a yacht trip. Picks Jen and Katie, so Katie's not mad at him anymore.
That's nice.
Karen, Tom, and Ian. I'm in danger.
That's fair.
Good news is that you can tie.
So Greg, Katie, and Jen, they all make a final 3 deal, yada yada. More importantly, back on the beach. Ian is pissed. Ian's pissed that Katie turned on him during the challenge. So he and Karen are like, "Oh, we're screwed. Hey, Tom, we're screwed. Let's do something about it." And it takes a little bit to get Tom to convince him.
And they feed him a little bit of information. Karen is more in the know with the pre-discussions about a women's alliance and the dealings to get rid of Tom Superman, right? So she can add some expert opinion, some credibility to this argument. And I think Karen is the reason that Tom ended up going along with this voting block 3.
Yeah. So they come up with a great plan. They vote for Greg. The other 3 are going to vote for Karen. If no one flips, we got a tie. Tom and Ian are like, "Hey, we'll go to rocks. Let's do it. Let's gamble."
Which 100% the right move, because this is where I started to love how Tom and Ian were both playing. Because this whole time I've always said, they keep intersplicing the season that Tom and Ian are both strategic powerhouses. They both understand the mechanics of the game. Because Ian's like, "I didn't come to play 6th, get 5th, 4th, or 3rd. And if we don't force this tie now and draw for rocks, we're gone. We're gone." And that is 100% what is happening.
It's a brilliant move.
So absolutely brilliant.
Because what would happen here if they didn't tie it?
So the original plan tonight is because Greg and Jen and Katie and Tom and Ian have a final 5 deal. Greg doesn't want to turn on that because they had discussions about, hey, if anybody turns on this, they lose the jury. So they're like, okay, we vote out Karen tonight, and then Tom and Ian would be 5 and 4.
Yep. Okay.
Unless Katie wanted to make a move with Ian at 4, which could be the case. But Tom is out at 5, unless he wins immunity, which he will. But he doesn't know that. So yeah, Karen and Tom would have been presumably done if they don't make this move. And maybe even Ian too. We get the second chance immunity challenge. Again, I'm a big fan of. Ian ends up winning it. This is the last time for the rest of the season we can get rid of Tom.
Yes.
And it's your second straight, right?
Yep.
2 in a row.
So everything's going to plan. Karen's playing it cool, like, "Oh, I'm going home. It's a bummer." Until right before Tribal Council, and Ian pulls Katie aside. "Hey, we're voting out Greg. Get on board or go to hell," basically.
And it's always hard to tell, but they went out of our way to say this was as they were packing up to go to Tribal Council. So the commonly spoken of, but never really shown on TV very well or portrayed really well, right before Tribal Council, try and get a hold of people, key people at that moment. This is a risk because Katie could, in theory, I guess, warn Greg and Jen, but ultimately, what would that do?
There's no idols.
There's no idols, so there's absolutely no way if this group of 3 is going to stay 3 strong and they're willing to go to rocks, there's nothing that can be done. You could have gone to Tribal Council with everybody knowing everything and it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yep.
And that's why this move is also brilliant, because you didn't give Katie a chance to think about it, to make a pitch, to have a choice. This is a great move. Handcuff her to you.
Hey, you can always go to rocks.
Always go to rocks if you want, Katie.
And it's great because Ian, he has the immunity necklace. He's like, "I'm not going to rocks. You might be."
Tom would. Are you willing? Or
Exactly.
Tom's the type of guy who would do this.
Yeah, Tribal Council, 4 votes for Greg, 2 votes for Karen. Katie flips. Greg is gone. Awesome move. Move of the season, probably.
I think it is the move of the season.
Yeah.
But is it the right move?
Yes. The most important thing here, Katie needs Karen. Why is Katie trying to vote Karen out? Katie shouldn't be doing this move anyway. It is the right move for Katie. She should never have been with Greg and Jen. She can't beat them. She needs to flip over. She needs to join Tommy and Karen and keep Karen in the game.
And I suppose we can't use hindsight bias to say Tom is going to win all the remaining immunities. So in this moment, yeah, this is probably the right move for the most number of people.
I think the problem more is that they should be focusing on Tom here and not on Karen.
Sure.
Or with the original plan.
Greg and Jen's plan should be to take out Tom.
Yeah.
Sure.
And not Karen.
Sure.
I don't
That would be
care.
the
I don't
better
care
move.
about your final 5 alliance.
If Greg and Jen could get Katie and Karen on board to knock out Tom, that's the best move.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why why Karen won't do that, or why Greg and Jen didn't think of that. So the optimal move is to get everybody together to knock Tom out.
Yeah.
This should be a 5-1 vote.
To shuffle out Tom and shuffle in Karen into this 5-person alliance.
Yeah. But
Here we are.
for best player, I had Ian for convincing Tom to turn on Greg, being willing to go to Rocks, but not having to make the choice because he won immunity and ultimately eliminating Greg, who's a huge threat to him.
Yeah, I said it was Ian as well. Basically the same reason. You win out immunity, so every time that Tom loses immunity, he's a power player. And then, yeah, telling Katie right before on the 11th hour to say, like, or with certainty that she doesn't have to go to Rocks and he can protect his ally who wants to go to the final 2 or 3 with him, that's a great move. So it's Ian.
Yeah, definitely works for me.
Worst player is Jen for her handling of the coconut chop challenge. Obviously, I would give it to Greg, but we can't.
Yep.
She handled the coconut chop very poorly and ended up being on the wrong side of the
Yep,
vote.
was left out of the vote. That was really the only thing.
Katie ended up getting on the right side and ended up making the right move by accident.
Yeah. You can fall backwards into something and make the right move.
Default is Jen.
Yeah.
Greg is now out of this game. Derek again loses a winner pick.
Ooh.
Derek, we have 5 people left. Who's your winner pick?
We have 5 people left.
Pick wisely.
I picked Katie.
And I was just like, what? Excuse me?
I will defend Derek that I think that Katie can come through as like looking like a viable candidate to win the game when you don't like overanalyze every single like part of it and like really compare who she might be able to beat.
No, maybe you should be doing that.
I got to Katie by playing out the rest of this game in my head the way that it should have gone. The women should come together. Don't break apart for any reason at any time at all. Katie, I think, can genuinely beat Karen, no problem. I think that if she is the one who is more obviously betraying Tom and Ian, can earn clout with the jury enough to beat Jen or Karen in a final tribal council. I also think that Katie might be able to beat Jen, but Jen is also very capable physically. But point being, I thought that Katie was the most capable woman left and in a position to build a resume good enough to win the game. And both guys were not going to make it to the end.
Okay, so you thought it was going to be like Tom, then Ian, and then final 3 all women?
I thought the final 3 was going to be all women and that Katie was going to win out either way. So that was where I saw it. That was why I picked Katie.
Okay.
If I thought that there was even a remote chance that either guy was going to make it to the final 2, I would have picked them. But it just made too much sense for the women to come together.
I do agree that I actually think that she's number 3 on the list here, just behind the 2 guys, and I would side with Derek in saying that there shouldn't be a possibility that they both make it to the end, so yeah.
After that final 6 vote, my winner pick, let's say mine, if it was my new pick, I would have shifted to Ian after that episode.
I was going back and forth between Ian and Katie. I just felt like it made too much sense for the women to come together.
All right, so Derek is Katie.
Will age like milk.
Hey, he'll make it further than my current winner pick.
Derek is Katie, Josh is Ian, and I have Tom. Episode 13, penultimate episode, It Could All Backfire. Ian and Tom, they talk about the reward challenge and agree to not take each other if they win, so one of them can keep an eye on the reward, one of them keep an eye on camp.
What
Correct
a great move.
It's almost like they've been listening to the podcast.
Yes.
We've been saying this. It's brilliant. I'm so disappointed in Ian. My appointment is immeasurable.
When it rains, it pours, and it is starting to sprinkle.
So Ian had promised previously to take Katie if he won reward. Okay. Tom wants them to take Karen, and he said if he wins reward, he'll probably take Karen. Okay. Keep her comfortable. Fair enough on either side.
This is a great move either way.
Cool. Perfect. Brilliant. Ian wins reward and takes Tom.
While also winning a car.
A Corvette, by the way.
A really nice car.
Dang.
Better car than what the winner gets.
It's true. What? Why? Ian? Even Tom is like, why did you do that?
Why didn't they at least show this to us in the edit? Because Ian said something like, well, I did say to Tom, if it was a car reward, I would take him. What does that have to do with anything?
It shouldn't matter what kind
Tom
of
should be over
reward.
here going, no.
No.
Do not. Stop. Stop what you're doing. It's so bad. So Katie, Jen, and Karen, they all talk at camp and agree to take out the guys because obviously.
Wow. Shocker. Should have happened 2 episodes
And
ago.
Surprise Pikachu.
Yeah.
And by the way, at this point, I was feeling really good about my Katie pick.
Yeah.
I felt amazing
should.
about this.
As you should. Ian and Tom come back to camp. Karen confronts them. It's like, okay, Ian, who is the final 3? And Ian's like, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Wrong answer.
Wrong answer. You, Tom, and Karen. That's easy. And if
funny.
Katie approaches you, you, Tom, and Katie. It's a simple game.
So Katie ends up bringing Ian on a little walk and guilt tripping him hard.
And by the way, I think that Tom 100% had the right read on the situation. She's like, he said something around the lines of, dude, she's just looking for a reason to jump ship without any negative press. And you just gave her the reason. Congratulations.
Tom is not thrilled with Ian today.
No. They're walking away from Karen after the beach. He's like, dude, you just lost us our vote. There are 3 women. Karen was our ace. What are you doing? And he's like, I really hope you're as close with Katie as you think you are.
And Katie just berates Ian, and Ian's like breaking down crying on the beach. Like, I'm sorry. And then Tom is like trying to strong arm Katie into voting with him and just like pisses her off even more.
Which, honestly, from Tom's position, this is before immunity. This is a good move. I'm not one who likes to get to bullying as a strategy. But he didn't really bully her. He just said, just so you know, if I win immunity and you take out Ian and then I win immunity again, yeah, it's going to be revenge because you broke your word. I will vote you out, and I will try and make sure that the other women vote you out too. I will make sure that you are the first girl gone.
It's a threat. It's a promise.
Yeah.
It's a hard promise.
You got to be tricky with that, though. That could, let's say Katie ended up on the jury. She might not vote for him if he does something like that.
I don't think that he was expecting to have her vote at that point because he was also saying, you also won't get my vote. If you break your word with us, you won't have my vote. If you are 2 against 3 in the final 5 in the age of Survivor where there are no idols and no fire making challenge at 4, it's time to take every tool out of the toolbox. Just go for it. Not a proponent of bullying, but it straddled the line, and I think it was done as tactfully as you can bully someone. So I said good move by Tom. Because he's trying to slap some tape on the bleeding water tank that is Ian.
Tom ends up winning the memory obstacle course immunity. So guess who's not going home?
Oh, wow.
So we're going back to Tribal Council, and Karen just starts like berating Ian at Tribal Council, and Tom is like hitting back on her. It's kind of an ugly Tribal Council, and somehow we get to 4 votes for Karen and 1 vote for Ian. WTF?
Yeah, now we're in the realm of bad gameplay for everyone.
Well, I mean,
except Tom.
Tom and it should have been Ian. The women team up and take out Ian. This is the biggest no-brainer of the season. And so I think what must have happened is Katie is like, I'm going to stay with Ian for some reason. And Jen's like, well, there goes that plan. I might as well pile on the Karen vote. That's the only thing that makes any sense.
Is that Katie audibly told Jen at some point that she will be going with the guys, so might as well vote with us. Still the wrong move.
Oh, 100% the wrong move. Because Katie needs Karen.
Mm-hmm. And maybe a part of Katie flipping back was the fact that it wasn't Tom that lost immunity. If Ian wins immunity, maybe they do decide to go with the women to vote out Tom.
I think that's likely.
But because Tom strong-armed Katie, he's like, guess what? Now it's me against you 3 in a Final 4 immunity challenge. Who do you think is going to win that? And Katie thinks she has a better chance of talking Ian into voting out Tom at 4 than beating Tom without Ian there. That's where I'm like, I don't think that this is necessarily the wrong move because you need somebody who can beat Tom.
But
at an immunity challenge.
You need someone you can beat. You can't get rid of Karen. You can't.
But I do think that Ian is spiraling, and if Katie is making these moves to save Ian, and she gets to the end with Ian, at least she can say, he's only here because I made it so.
Then vote out Jen. You can't get rid of Karen. You can't.
Yes, and that's fine, but I don't want to say necessarily that Ian was the right move, because I do think it is a little more...
Okay.
It's a little more interesting than that.
But Karen was the wrong move.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Karen's gone. Derek, who's your best player?
I said Tom. He won immunity, and I love that he strong-armed in the Final 5 when he was the big man on campus, and I think that it worked.
Yeah, I agree with Tom. Plus, he had that pre-reward challenge plan that was brilliant that Ian ruined, and he took out Karen, who was against him now. So I think it was a good move for Tom.
Yeah. And then for worst, I had Ian. Man, oh man. He stumbled, he tripped, he fell, he never really got back up and somehow fell harder. I don't know. This was a really bad episode for Ian.
Here's what's insane. Katie can no longer win the game, and yet Ian is still the worst player of the episode. He picked Tom to go on reward. He was non-committal to Karen. He was easily manipulated by Katie. He was a train wreck. It's Ian.
And I don't agree that Katie still can't win the game.
Who can she beat?
I think that given her position as a swing vote who worked both sides, she could beat Jen. I think she could genuinely beat Jen if she played a strong game out.
There's a lot of people who didn't like Katie, and everybody liked Jen.
Sure. I look at it from a gameplay perspective, and I think that Katie's done more than Jen.
Maybe.
Sure.
But she has a terrible social game. Jen, Katie, final two. Kobe, Janu, Karen, Greg. That's Jen. That's 4. It's over. Katie 100% loses to Jen. All right, we're on to the finale. The ultimate shock. So, final 4. Katie, Jen, and Ian all agree Tom's got to go, and they're right. They all agree to vote out Tom.
Wow.
Oh no, Tom wins immunity.
Uh-oh.
Who could have seen that coming?
Uh-oh, Raggy.
Now that you're facing no competition.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you still have Ian, but...
Yeah, Ian's definitely a threat, but Tom wins. So they all have a talk around the campfire, and like, yeah, Jen, you're going. Sorry. And she's like, okay. And Ian, oof. He's like, man, I'm glad I didn't win immunity. This would have been a tough decision. Tom's like, what? I thought it was a pretty easy decision. Didn't we have an agreement to go to the final 3 together?
Which, read into it however you want. First of all, it should be a hard decision. And actually, no, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a hard decision at all. You should be looking to cut each other now.
Yeah.
Tom, you should be voting out Ian. The fact that you're like, oh yeah, it's Jen and it's easy. You're an idiot.
Yeah, it's the wrong move strategically, but he thinks Ian and he are on the same level, and they're not.
Well, they're not. He's clearly higher.
Yeah. Well, in terms of honor, like, he thought Ian would have the same level of honor as he does. Like, we're going to go duke it out like gentlemen. Like, wrong move. But that's what he thought, and Tom realizes, oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm getting played. And he goes to talk to Jen, and Jen's like, oh, yeah, you didn't know? Oh, I'm so sorry. We were going to vote you out. Ian said so.
Oh, so cute. You didn't know?
And it was said like that. It was wonderful.
It was great. So Tom's like, hey, Ian.
Let's go talk to him right now.
They should be a tribal. It's dark out.
Yeah.
They literally have their bags.
He's like, Ian, I heard you're going to vote me out. He's like, well, yeah, that's what I said. I did say that. I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to know. Dang, dude.
This is right. Like, yes, like you can say like, yeah, I had talked about that. I wasn't actually going to do it.
Yeah, and that's what Ian doesn't really mention. He's so easy to knock off his feet. Like, if he gets rattled once, he's done. He's got to be like, well, I told them that because this is a game. Of course I'm going to tell them that. Was it true? No. Come on, Tom. I'm with you.
Easy as that.
It's that easy.
Do you know, this is Karor showing how green they are at tribal council and having to work through real animosity and real social dynamics. Because frankly, they have had kind of a cakewalk time to get to this point in the game.
Oh, yeah.
So Ian has no idea that he needs to be thinking about these conversations and have them almost preset for every person. If they come to me in this group of 2, if they say these things, if I tell this person one thing, I have to expect that everybody knows it. You know, Varys says it in Game of Thrones. Once you say something to someone else, it's information, and just assume that everybody might have it. Ian had not prepared for this at all. Shows how green he was. The fact that Tom was even considering just voting out Jen blindly goes to show that he wasn't thinking about the strategic aspect of this game. It's just so confusing. I like all these people as people, but come on.
So we're going to tribal council. Katie's like, hey, Ian, have you lied to me in the last 24 hours? No? Okay, cool. We're going to vote together. And it ends up being a 2-2 tie. 2 votes for Ian, 2 votes for Jen. Ian needs to go here. Katie, vote out Ian.
I disagree. And I disagree very strongly, actually,
Okay.
because Ian has had a huge fall from grace in front of the jury, publicly. And Jen, if Katie and Jen have played the same game, getting rid of Jen makes a lot of sense for Katie if Jen is going to beat her on social standing. So Katie keeping Ian around, Ian is the only person that she can feasibly beat, given the fact that he has fallen as far as he has. He might still beat her, but he is the only chance she has. So going with Ian, forcing the challenge, I think is the right move.
You've convinced me.
Thank you.
You've
I did
convinced
it.
me. You make a very good point.
And to be fair, I'm also on Derek's side, and I didn't even need to be convinced. Reminder, I watched the finale. seeing this go really quickly, and I didn't even see the last episode part of this where he took the wrong person for reward. It was really turning into, oh, no one's gonna give Ian the money, so go with him. Completely flipped to just a couple of days ago. So I think that it would be the right move here to take out Jen.
If you're Katie.
So going for the tie was the right move.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Tom needs to take out Ian.
Yes. So what happened, and it was correct.
Okay. I agree. You convinced me. You're right. 2-2 tie. We go to the fire making challenge, which, hallelujah, they've changed to string instead of torch. Rope instead of torch. So this is definitely an improvement. And Ian ends up defeating Jen at fire making. Jen is out of the game.
Note, we do believe that they had matches.
Yep.
I am excited to see when we
We saw the matches.
Oh, okay. So I am excited to see when we get to Flint, but we'll see.
Yeah. I don't remember exactly when we get to Flint.
But I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I was glad that it wasn't like a torch dipped in kerosene to light it anymore.
Maybe a little harder.
Because Stephanie just like lit her rope on fire and then beat Bobby John, who was actually trying to build a fire. Sorry, man. Work smarter, not harder.
Josh, who do you got for best player?
I have Tom, because, again, he should be gone. There's no reason that he shouldn't be, and I know we don't really like to just do it because of immunity, but you got immunity to save your life. So, yeah.
I like everything that Tom did. I gave it to Katie because she was the only person who seemed to understand her position in the game and sees Ian and Ian's downfall as an opportunity and goes for it. Forces the tie. And her gamble paid off. Ian ends up going back to camp rather than Jen.
It's true. I'm still giving it to Tom. Because he won immunity and he was willing to turn on Ian, which is the right move for his game.
If he was vulnerable, it was a 3-1 vote.
But I do agree that Katie made the right move. So let's go to worst player. Ian.
Yeah.
It's definitely
Do we need to explain?
Nope.
No, it's Ian.
Was trash.
End of story.
Yeah, it was real bad. You know, he did win the fire making challenge. Great. Shouldn't have been in it.
Nope.
All right, so we're down to the final three. We lose Jen. Rest in peace, Jen. But moving on, we got final three. Solid final three, too.
Yeah.
Good characters. Tom and Katie just rake Ian over the coals. Like, holy crap. Ian's like, you guys are crucifying me. Yeah, they are. Holy crap.
And very subtly, this really should be just like Tom versus Ian, but Katie is just tossing in just like one-liners, just like every like couple of sentences that are said, just like, yeah, you did this.
It's pretty great for Katie.
Which is kind of, I hesitate to say this, but emblematic of Katie's game. It's just kind of piling on to the coattails of whatever is convenient at the time. And if making fun of Ian or giving Ian a hard time is what's convenient at the time, she's going to do it. For the record, not that this is the greatest move, but for my mental health, if I'm Ian at this point, it's final three. I just leave.
Yeah.
Just walk away from camp and assume you need to win out. Ian is nicer than I am.
Yes.
I would have removed myself from the situation and been like, I'm going for a walk. I don't know if I'm coming back tonight. I might just go sleep somewhere else.
Fair enough.
I don't know, but I would not sit there and let people rail into me. But then again, Ian also was doing a very poor job at owning his game.
He wasn't owning his game.
And that is another thing. So, Ian, when Tom says, were you going to vote me out at 4? Yeah. Why would you do that? Because you're better than me.
Done.
But I thought we were duking it out like gentlemen. Why would I do that?
You win.
Because if we duke it out like gentlemen,
Yeah,
you
I
win.
lose.
It's really easy to say, let's have an arm wrestling match if you lift weights and I don't.
Yep. All Ian had to do was be like, yeah, I tried to get you out.
And you know what? If Tom's mad about that, if he's sour grapes, that's
Tom's problem.
That's something that he needs to sort out because he said himself, this is Survivor. This is not real life. This is not about honor. If he cannot stay true to those words that he told Jeff at Tribal Council like 6 nights ago, that's on him. Own your game and then remove yourself from that situation.
And Ian doesn't do either.
He does not do either.
The next day, though, Katie's like, hey, Ian, you should really fight hard today. Beat Tom and take me to the end.
Thanks, Katie.
Thanks, Katie. I like it, though. I really like it from Katie.
Katie, why don't you try to beat Tom?
Fallen comrades. Yada. Janu is into this. Why? Don't know. But more importantly,
Because remember, she quit.
Karen, we get her doing in slow motion the SpongeBob meme. Like the one where he's got his like hands on his hips and does the weird face. It's like a real life enactment of the SpongeBob meme. Amazing. Fallen comrades.
Hooray. Can't wait for those to be done. I already know what I'm going to do when we get to the season that doesn't have it. I'm just going to go, hallelujah, oh glory.
Final immunity challenge. They're hanging on buoys. Katie lasts 5 hours. Commercial break. 7 hours later.
7 hours later.
They hit like almost 12 hours. Like the whole thing lasts 11 hours, 55 minutes. This is insane.
Jeff even says at one point, no one said a word for 4 hours here.
It's dark out. Holy crap.
What just happened?
Finally, Ian's like, hey, Tom. Because the whole time, Tom's like, hey, if you step down right now, I'll take it. If you fall off, I'm taking Katie. So just step down and take the deal. Ian's like, no, we're going to duke it out. The end of it. Ian's like, hey, Tom, I'll step down and you take Katie. Okay, sure.
As consultants,
We cannot condone this.
we are obliged to say, telling someone to vote you out of the final 3 and take someone else really hurts your odds of winning the game.
One of the worst moves in Survivor history.
Now, is this just 5D chess going on here?
Nope. That's 0D
No,
chess.
no, it's not.
There's no chess happening. Don't do this. I mean, yeah, this is a great human moment. It's interesting. It's fascinating. Horrible gameplay. It can't get any worse, actually. This is 0% gameplay.
Yeah, this is one step shy of quitting.
Yeah, it's engineering a quit.
Yes,
For all
which
of them.
happens a lot this season.
But Ian's like, hey, I just want to show Tom and Katie I do care about them and have them go to the final 2 and just to prove that I do care. It's a nice moment. Don't do this. Buy him a beer after the game is over with your $1 million. Tell him, like, dude, you're awesome. There you go. Or if they don't want to be your friends anymore, screw them. You have $1 million.
It's hard because in the moment, I felt like Ian had no chance of winning the game. So it felt a little bit like Rob just kind of hedging his bet. So he's like, okay, what's $20,000 at this point, I guess? Like, whatever. If he doesn't value that, that's on him. And we talk about how to win the game, not how to maximize your return. So we're not here to tell you how to get second place if you think you can. So if from a human perspective, he felt like he could not win the game, whatever. It's fine. I can't really dock him for it. But by, engineering a quit, he obviously can't win the $1 million anymore. I felt like he could not beat Katie.
I think he could have if he could own his game at Final Tribal.
Yeah, especially, and now, obviously, like, hindsight, seeing how poorly Katie did at Final Tribal, it really enforces that. I think that it would have been either really close or I think if he would have owned up to his game, it could have actually been a pretty big gap. Not saying that Katie didn't stand a chance. I think that she absolutely would have stood a chance against Ian. I think it was more that he knew he wasn't going to beat Tom.
He knew he couldn't beat Tom, which
in both the immunity challenge and the game.
Which is fine and dandy, but I can think of 3 Katie votes. Kobe, Jen,
Maybe. Kobe is voting for Ian.
and Karen.
Karen hates Katie.
Yeah. That was the reason they didn't go to a women's alliance.
But Ian was the last one to really kind of screw Karen over, and she laid to bear at Tribal Council. I think that she would end up, with the blindfolds off and seeing how she was being manipulated by Ian and Tom, she'd be like, okay, I'm going to go back to at least something that wasn't complete BS.
Either way, you're assuming a little bit there, and that's still only
I think you're assuming a lot of it there.
All I'm saying is I think that Katie and Ian had better chances against each other than either of them did against Tom.
Oh, absolutely.
And I don't want to say that Katie couldn't beat Ian.
Ian probably beats Katie 5-2.
Maybe.
I think Jen.
I think it's at best 5-2 though.
Jen
whereas
probably-
Tom was like a minimum 5-2.
Jen probably votes for Katie. Maybe Tom. Maybe. And that's about it.
I'm just saying it's possible.
It's possible.
I think
I'll-
Tom certainly would have actually
and
voted for Katie.
And I'll also, for this is again complete conjecture, but hey, why are we doing the podcast if we don't have conjecture? Every time Ian was confronted in a one-on-one situation, verbally, which by the way is Final Tribal Council, that is the essence, he flubbed hard. If Ian makes it to Final Tribal Council, Katie might just be able to pull a real Chris and let, Ian/Twyla dig his own grave on the other side of Final Tribal Council.
I don't think so.
It's all a conjecture. We can
Sure.
say I don't think so or I think so.
I strongly don't think so.
But I do think it's a non-zero
sure.
chance.
Not a 0% chance.
And
unlikely.
And Katie and Ian needed each other for the final 2.
Yes, absolutely. That much is true. So Tom agrees to vote out Ian because obviously,
And who cares?
and Ian is gone by Ian.
Now I wonder what Tom would have done if he didn't go through all this. What if he really brought Ian?
Maybe. Maybe
in the end, it doesn't matter. I don't think
Tom would crush them both.
Yeah, and I think he knows that, so I think he'd be able to like keep Ian and be able to say like, I kept my word.
If Ian stepped down in a deal during the challenge, I think Tom would have followed through.
Yeah.
It's easy to do when you know you're going to win.
Yeah. It's easy to have honor when you know you got the game wrapped up. So Ian's out. Best player?
Tom?
Duh.
Wins immunity, takes out Ian, done. No worst player, though.
I disagree. Worst player is Katie because she needed to beat Tom. Tom needs to be gone. And she stepped down off the buoy. She did not fall off. She did not pass out. She needed to beat Tom, and she stepped off. That is enough to give her worst player because it was a need to get Tom gone. It wasn't a luxury. It was a need. And because she stepped off on an endurance challenge, I have to give her worst.
Sure.
You know what? That's fair.
Fair enough.
I originally said none, but you're in final 3. Even if you like go until you pass out, you're probably not going to beat Tom here. But if you don't try, you can't win.
Sure.
I would pull a Joe Englund. I would
out.
pass out on that buoy. They wouldn't need to get medical.
All right.
Look at Derek influencing votes here.
Every once in a while.
So, Josh, you lose your winner pick.
Oh.
You know what? Gonna pick?
It was feeling real good there for a little bit. And then we're like 2 episodes in.
You got a 50-50 shot. Who did you pick?
I picked Tom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Shocker.
All right. So going into the final Trouble Council, we got Josh and I on Team Tom.
And I would
is my original winner pick.
I would also like to note that going into post this challenge, going into like commercial break or whatever, we're all watching this together, by the way. Derek looks over, he's like, man, can Tom win? Yes.
That's a big
yes,
old
he can.
yes.
It was just... I was still processing...
That Ryan was right.
That Tom, the Rupert of the season, the burly provider, loyal old man, made it to the end. I couldn't believe it. So if I phrased it like that, I meant to phrase it something more closely along the lines of, I'm dumbfounded. How are we here? Because there's no question. Like, how could Katie win? Yeah. It's crazy.
All right, Final Trouble Council, Tom versus Katie. Opening statements, Tom worked hard and tried to keep things light. I mean, that last couple of days weren't very light, but whatever. Katie said she and Tom are very different. Yes. Accurate.
Yes. Which is the right move. That's what you should explain to them.
And Katie said, I came in to play a self-preservation game, and I did it. Yeah.
Sure. If
She
that's
made
your
it
own
without
choice.
immunity. Okay.
And she points out specifically, which is good to do, the outwit portion of the game. Is
Sure.
that she believes that she has the advantage on that.
Sure. That is definitely her best area.
Yep. Which is good to point out.
Yes. I think Tom is better at it, though. I think Tom is better at all 3, if I'm being honest. But Kobe is, very briefly, he says, hey, Katie, if I vote for you, you still suck. It's just that I'm voting against Tom. So don't feel good about it if you get my vote. The 1 vote that Katie gets.
Also, I'm not decided yet.
Yes. Kobe wants honesty. Greg points out, hey, Tom, we had a deal to not break the alliance. You broke it. Tom says, yeah, Ian misled me. He said I was going home. I apologize, and I regret doing it. Normally, we go against that. Yeah, we don't really like apologizing here for gameplay. It's interesting that Tom does this, and it works. It wins Greg over. So it's one of those things where it's like, sometimes you got to break the rules. You got to know the rules to break them.
Well, and it depends, because if everything works out all hunky-dory with Ian, I don't think that you apologize here. But given that everybody saw what went on at Tribal and saw the downfall of Ian, I think that you can use him in this manner.
Yeah.
And be like, he misled me, especially when he's not next to you at Tribal Council.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to refine our rule of never apologizing a little bit, because I feel like there have been a couple times that we've said it's been okay. Part of owning up to your game, because usually when we're talking about owning up to your game, we're saying, like, throw integrity to the wayside. It doesn't matter. Throw honor, throw honesty. It doesn't matter. But also owning up to your game is owning up to your mistakes. So if you know that you were manipulated, someone outplayed you in that moment, and it caused you to get rid of a close alliance member, I think that is okay to apologize for a genuine mistake that wouldn't have been good for your game. You overcame it later on, but it wasn't good for your game even in that moment.
Even though it was good.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So if you know that you got duped, you know you got, you can admit that, and if someone else was the casualty, it's okay to apologize in that situation.
And I think it also helps that Ian's not in the finals with him.
Because that would make him look good.
Yeah, if Ian was in the finals with him, you got to play it differently. But Ian's on the jury. Be like, yeah, the guy who got me's out, though. I got him out. So,
Yeah.
Got my revenge on the guy who got me. there's something there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's hard to play Survivor.
What? No.
And Greg also calls Katie pathetic. Yikes. Harsh.
Yeah.
Little harsh.
The adrenaline from the camera lights is a bit much.
Stephanie wants to know if Tom actually fought for her at all. And Tom's like, yeah, I did as much as I could, but if I'd gone any further, I would have tanked my own game. Yeah, that's fair.
That's a completely fair
good
answer.
answer.
And
Very good answer from Tom.
And if you lose Stephanie's vote because of it, all you might be able to say is, if you would have had any other angles to get me out instead of you, I know you would have done it. I would have expected you to do it. You're a great player. The essence of the answers are the same.
Yeah. And Katie refuses to answer Janu's question because you're not going to vote for me.
I mean, she's right, but still can't advise this.
As consultants, this hurts your chance of earning that vote.
You could play off of Janu's question to other members of the jury.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to talk to everybody. And she asked a very open-ended question. Give me 3 adjectives to describe the positive and negative aspects of your game. Don't look at Janu, look at everybody else, and use adjectives that are kind of the anti-Tom. Or paint Tom in a negative light.
Yeah.
This was an opportunity, and every word could be $1 million, could be a vote. I don't think it would have made a ton of difference, but you never know.
You never know unless you try.
If you don't think you have her vote and you really don't think that you can beat Tom, why are you even here?
Remember, you're not trying to convince the lawyers that you're not guilty. You're trying to convince the jury that you're not guilty. Doesn't matter who's asking the question.
Yeah. Karen wants to know if she was actually like an alliance member to Tom or a chess piece. Tom's like, well, we never had a really alliance.
So that's a chess piece.
Your words.
But she still wants to know, like, what was I to you, really? And Tom's like, you know what? I'm not going to answer that. Search your heart and find the truth. What an old person thing to say.
I would absolutely hate this answer from Tom. Like, if I was the one asking it, I would absolutely hate it.
It seems to work for Karen.
Yeah.
It seems to work for Karen. Yeah, I think that might be an older person thing.
Yep.
I can't relate to this
Know
one.
your audience, I guess.
And maybe it's because I'm a Survivor super fan, but my jury question would never be about my personal relationship with somebody. I want to dig deeper into the games that they played and the moves that they made or the manipulation that they were a part of.
My jury question, if we still did this, we still did the jury question.
Yeah.
My question would be, why should the other people or person not win? Give me something negative about those people.
Yeah.
That's my question.
It's a great question, and we've heard it several times.
and we
my
get
favorite
it
question.
this season, too.
And it's classic.
And then Katie, when Karen gets to her, she's kind of rude. She ends up being like, I had an alliance and you didn't. That's why you suck, Karen. That's why you're on the jury.
Like, Katie, why?
Yes. Cool, throw it back in someone's face, but I'll do it a little bit more, with a little more finesse. It's a delicate dance, this jury speech. That was just a chainsaw through someone's face.
Compulsalt.
Yes.
That's what you needed here.
This was just an insult.
Yeah. She basically said, you didn't play.
Yeah, you didn't have any alliances. And Katie's
Which
not
was
wrong.
true.
Katie's not wrong. It's you got to be careful what you say and how you say it.
Yeah.
And she didn't.
She didn't. Last person I want to talk about is Jen, because Ian just doesn't matter. Jen says, Tom, you were kind of chauvinistic and didn't respect my game. Tom's like, yeah. But then I did respect your game on your last night when you threw Ian under the bus hard. And then I realized, oh, you were hiding your game the whole time. There was no game for me to see because you were hiding it. It's like, ooh, Tom, what an answer.
Kind of like that backhanded compliment we just talked about.
Hot take. Can't prove it, because they all know I'll never. I don't think Tom did see Jen's game. We heard Ian give Jen all the props in the world for, coming back after the Greg vote. And he's like, she's really cool. She's smooth. Jen's playing harder than people realize. They never showed Tom acknowledging that. This is why I do think that Katie did outwit Tom, and Tom was surrounded by people who masked that weakness because he was in a powerhouse alliance for so long, and then just ended up winning immunity out, which is the only reason that he's here. So I think he just told the truth, and it was a complisalt. Because he's like, I really didn't know you were playing, but then you were like, oh, honey, Ian didn't tell you that he was going to vote you out. Oh, dear.
I feel like Tom grew as a person over the court. Like, he learned more about, not so much himself, but other people. He learned more about the world. It was kind of like a coming-of-age story, even though he's like 40-something.
Sure, I like it.
Oh, not everyone is honorable. Oh.
Especially not in a game for $1 million.
Wow.
Good development for Tom.
Yeah.
He's not cutthroat until the end. The final four is when he really becomes cutthroat. So, Tom ends up winning 6-1. Kobe votes for Katie. That's the one vote because she was more honest. in her tribe. Maybe. I think so. That's probably true.
Hey, a vote against Tom is just as good as a vote for Katie.
Well, and it really seemed like it came from like the last answer that Tom was just kind of like BSing a little bit, and you just get the biggest eye roll from Kobe here.
Why shouldn't I get $1 million? Because I've already been compensated with this beautiful life experience. Oh, shut up.
And here's the thing. I think Tom was telling the truth.
I think he was.
It's still a BS answer.
I mean, you got one of the like terrible moves earlier in the game when he just wanted to switch beaches.
Yeah.
Because he wanted an adventure.
He wanted an adventure.
Perception is reality. You got to window dress that a little bit and say, okay, I know this sounds really corny. I know this sounds really cheesy. And then be like, Kobe, you're going to hate this.
Oh, man.
But I have already gotten payment out of this.
Yeah. But Tom wins 6-1. So the question is, did the right person win?
Yeah.
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 It shouldn't be Tom. We shouldn't be here because he should have been voted out a long time ago.
Of these two, the two people who made it, who played the better game, physically, Tom. Socially, Tom. Strategically, a little more up in the air. I come down on Tom's side. That sounded like you came down on Katie's side.
I come down on Katie's side because Tom never had to switch his alliance. Katie kept options open, and we saw her playing both sides. And she ended up getting to the end by sticking with her original, but she saw options. Sure. She had chances, and that's why I think she was better on that.
I would agree, just because you saw, like you said, her usually the reasons why it didn't work out for her were because of other people, like the women's alliance.
Karen.
Like she was part of that.
Mostly Karen.
Should have worked.
And yes, maybe it didn't work because of her social game, but we're not talking about her social game. We're talking about her strategic game.
Her social game was very bad.
And a lot of moves that Tom was a part of, the couple that I remember were from actually initiated by Ian or someone else.
Or Greg.
Sure. Yeah, so I do land on the side of Katie for that.
Okay. And I think there's definitely more room for arguments there besides the other two categories.
I will also say that in the game of Survivor, if you are the brusque, old, loyal, whomever, man or woman, I don't care. I mean, Janet in season 39, if you get to the end, I think you should win. Because you shouldn't get to the end. It would take a Tony getting to the end with that person to win. But other than that, if a Joe Anglim makes it to the end with zero strategy just because he brute forced his way through the rest, honestly...
And didn't piss people off.
That is a perfectly valid strategy, and totally. I think that it's one of the hardest games to pull off, and therefore has the highest reward. There's almost no worlds where Tom shouldn't win this.
It's great. Tom is absolutely the right winner, and which begs the question, because Tom will play again. Do you guys want to see that?
Yeah. I do.
Yeah, I would like to see, just because I would want to see how he does the second time.
It seems like he learned a lot playing this time.
Yeah, but and even more just because now there's nothing to hide behind. I mean, like we said, like it's the most obvious. Like you know who Tom is the entire time. Everyone around him just isn't doing anything about it. But now that everyone has seen that, I want to see how he does after this.
You're not always gift wrapped in oolong.
It's true.
And so Karor was kind of gift wrapped a golden opportunity to stamp their ticket halfway to $1 million. Good for you. All I know is that with Tom specifically, there was talk to vote him out like next after Willard.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see how it would play out. At the very least, my curiosity is piqued. And you're always good for bringing back winners.
Yes. If you win, come back. Bring him back. Yep. Bring Chris Underwood back. Bring him back. I want to see what he can actually do.
I bet he wants to come back too.
Probably. But absolutely.
Let me prove myself.
Tom is one of my favorite personality winners. You know, I think there's some flaws in his game for sure, but I think out of everybody who's won so far, I think he's my third favorite winner.
Sure.
I think it's got to go Chris Richard, Tom. Those are my top three, and then there's a gap.
Sure.
Pretty significant gap. Love Tom. Bring him back. Also, he's one of the two I've gotten right so far. Beautiful. Love Tom.
How can't you love it?
Reunion shows, fine. James and Kobe are pretty funny. And then Kobe, we get a kind of a sweet moment where Kobe adopted a baby and named the baby Janu. Nice moment.
Yep.
But that's kind of it for the reunion shot.
Yeah, not a lot there.
So let's wrap up the season. We're done here now. So who is the best player of the season and worst player of the season? That's what we're at next. But the trick is we can only count the people who made it to the merge, or in this case, the final 9, this weird instance. So we have 9 people to choose from. Who was the best player of the season?
Greg.
What?
Oh.
Okay, continue. I disagree, though.
Listen, Tom's the easy pick, and I'm not going to argue with you on it. But there's a reason I didn't pick Tom to win. There's a reason that we all agree he shouldn't have won. Greg has all the tools to win the game of Survivor on a season where you're not gift-wrapped a Karor. He was a little bit like Batman, and everyone roots for Batman in the comics over Superman, and it just so happens that this time Superman won out because there was really no kryptonite left. I think that Greg had all of the strategic pieces figured out, and yeah, he got toppled by an 11th hour move by Ian because, anything can happen at any time. But I think that Greg has the strategic chops, I think he has the social chops, and I think that he has enough physical chops to come in and win this game.
He did not get toppled by an 11th hour move. He got toppled by his own move at the coconut shop. He screwed up at the coconut shop. He made mistakes by winning, taking Jen and Katie to give Ian, Tom, and Karen all the ammo they needed to put the pieces together to take him down. This is Greg's fault. If you get toppled by a coconut shop, you're disqualified from winning best player of any season.
Tom was going to willingly bring Ian to the top 3.
And he won.
Tom is so far from infallible. He played a really hard game.
He's totally not infallible. But not at all.
I still think that Greg is a better survivor, more well-rounded survivor player than Tom.
He lost to a coconut shop. That's a rookie move. Tom's best player of the season. Part of it is we have a lot of people who are flawed. Kobe, kind of a mess. Janu, not even in the conversation. Karen, not even in the conversation. Katie, not even in the conversation. Ian, not even in the conversation. Who's that leave? Greg and Jen, who got toppled by a coconut shop. Not good. And then Stephanie. It's really hard to say with Stephanie because she had no chance.
Honestly, we have an incomplete.
Yeah.
We don't have enough information.
Postmerge incomplete for Stephanie.
Yeah.
By default, it's got to be Tom. Yeah, he's got flaws, but best physical player, really solid social player. Strategic holes, but he got better as the game progressed.
I think that Tom made more mistakes than Greg, even before Greg got voted out. Greg made one mistake, Tom made multiple. I still think it's Greg, but I respect the Tom pick. I understand it.
I would have to go with Tom. I would even put Ian above Greg.
Ooh, I disagree.
What? Hey,
there were a lot of really great moves by Ian. Yes, he had an insane downfall. But if you take away Ian being too nice, I think that he's a great player.
Ian is a coach. I think Ian understands the game really well, but I
coach
don't...
the player?
Derek doesn't know who coach.
I know.
Okay, so for everyone, Derek, it means like a physical coach, like a football, not a player.
Yeah, so Ian, in his head, makes all the right moves. But just because, someone knows the right move. We always talk about this in the podcast. We can see Survivor and understand the different ways things can go and talk about the right way to do it, but we're not saying that we can always go out and do it the right way. There are plenty of people who can go out and move the pieces and do it the wrong way, a la Lex. Ian, he understands all the right things, but he can't execute it. And we saw when it got down to the nitty-gritty, when people actually started to get voted out, and he actually had to double-cross people, and he actually had to break alliances, he couldn't do it. And that is such an obvious and clear sign of an incomplete player that I could never put him above Greg. Because at least Greg was willing to chop heads off.
I wouldn't even say it's necessarily default, because I think that there's more good to Tom. Mm-hmm. And by saying it's by default is saying everyone else is just so bad that I have to go with Tom. I think it's more he, like you said, the physical aspect is not even close here.
He's an elite physical. He's one of the best of all time.
Yeah. To be clear, I'm not going to argue that Greg is better than Tom physically.
Great socially. It's more that the only thing you have to worry about is annoying people with being a good person. And then the strategic is more just there. So if that's your worst aspect of you, I think it's not a necessarily no-brainer, but I think that Tom is definitely the way to go here.
How about worst player?
This is easy.
Okay, so this is easy a couple of ways. You could go Janu.
And that's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I almost want to give Janu an incomplete. And I'm fine with going with Janu if that's what you both want to do. I want to throw out a dishonorable mention for Katie for being one of the least self-aware players we've had. She thought she had a legitimate shot because people liked her, and she didn't realize her social game was meow.
She knew that she didn't have a shot against Tom, though.
But she thought her social game was fine, and it's not.
Yeah.
So I want to give a dishonorable mention to Katie for sure.
I think that's fine, but yeah, I don't think that it's even close.
So the reason that I actually put Katie at third from the bottom,
I was just gonna say the same
because
thing.
at least you can use the strategic game to get you to. It doesn't matter how good you are socially if you can't be sitting in one of those final two seats. Karen was really bad strategically and should have gone with the women several times and just refused to see reason.
Okay.
So I have to give it to Janu, first of all, because, I mean, she was already in the Minority Alliance coming in and then ended up quitting. And when she came back from being on Exile Island, she's like, I didn't miss any of you. Like, so I can see why you might want to give her an eye, but from what I've seen, her, and then Karen, and then Katie.
I definitely think that Karen is the next worst.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I can't argue with that. I'm like, is Janu too easy of a pick?
Oh, it's a very easy pick, but there's a reason why it's easy.
Okay. Fair enough.
And we will say that self-awareness is one of our most highly touted characteristics.
And Katie is one of the lowest we've had.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially for a finalist.
Final Tribal Council, I would agree.
But when you're not willing to make an alliance, I'm going to actually hold that at a higher standard.
And Katie does have one of the worst Final Tribal Council performances we've seen. Like, she tried at first and then completely fell apart. You know, she's not as bad as Colby, but she's down there with, like, Rob and Twyla a little bit. Kind of down that way.
Not good.
Yeah.
Derek, do you have anything to add for Jeff Watch?
Nothing really, other than the kind of hypocrisy with how he treated the Janu quit.
Yeah.
There was one episode where he did not say, come on in, guys. He's just said, hey, guys, come in. And I was like, that was weird. But nothing else really of note. Just kind of the Jeff that we know.
How about Weather Report? Anything stick out to you?
They kept talking about the rats, but the rats seemed more like a nuisance. And let's be real, they lived at the Karor camp where they literally had like professional builders come in and construct them a beautiful shelter. This has got to be one of the easiest seasons we've had so far.
For the Karor tribe.
For the Karor tribe. Specifically for the Karor tribe. But again, we have to acknowledge that the Oolong tribe was more self-inflicted than it was Karor being amazing.
But I think you're right. This is definitely an easier season.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he would have if Tom was allowed, I think he would have kept living out there. He was having so much fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so Josh, most memorable moment of the season. This is your job. For the pre-merge, you picked, I believe it was the Bobby John Stephanie
Fire
showdown?
making. Yep, it was the fire making.
Does anything in the post-merge?
Not really. There's a lot of things like here and there, Janu quitting, the meltdown by Aang and stuff like that. But honest, like if I'm thinking like from the outside, none of it really stands out to me.
I'm going to throw a nomination in.
I will take
because I'd
any
be offended
nominations.
otherwise.
Sure.
The 12-hour immunity challenge?
Ian and Tom's showdown on the buoys.
The 12 hours?
Somehow I did not remember that, like from the outside. Now, after the fact, watching it back, I remember it, but I did not remember it from the outside when I just like thought of this season and everything that happened. Okay. The first thing that came to my mind was Oolong.
Okay.
That was the thing that came out. If I would have to pick something from the post-merge, I would say it's the ending there, their standoff at 12 hours. But the very first thing that comes to mind for this season is Oolong falling apart.
And for the record, I will remember season 10 most for Oolong just being trash.
So is the most memorable moment of the season the Stephanie the Bobby John fire making challenge?
Yep, and that's more of a culmination of the entire like pre-merge, but it ends at a certain point.
It's the climax,
Yep.
ending of that story. Okay, now that's just you.
Yep.
I get no say.
Yep.
I get a nomination. That is it. Same with that.
And I think that really holds the average audience member. I think that really holds true just because of both Bobby John and Stephanie come back as players, even though they were so early on.
Sure. All right, so the last thing we have to do here today is we have to update our season rankings. So I'll go first, and my number one season is Survivor Pearl Islands, and that is changing today. Survivor Palau is taking the top of the buoy. First place, Season 10, Palau, then Pearl Islands, Vanuatu, Borneo, the Amazon, Africa, the Australian Outback, Marquesas, All-Stars, Thailand.
So this is obviously going to be in the top tier, I would say, just overall. And even like after 40 seasons, it's probably going to end up being just kind of in the top tier. But I'm actually going to put it as number 2 behind Pearl Islands. So mine currently is Pearl Islands, Palau, Amazon, Vanuatu, Borneo, Australia, Africa, Marquesas, All-Stars, and Thailand.
And I am in complete agreement with Ryan on this, actually. And honestly, part of it has been talking through this post-merge with you guys, but I want to amend my previous statement and say that on entertainment factor alone, this season is must-watch Survivor from beginning to end. And you get a little bit of everything culminated with a very satisfying winner. And I bet this season has great rewatch value.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it does.
So it is ranked at my number 1 above Pearl Islands because this has a little something for everybody. not to say the least that it's basically 2 seasons of Survivor. So I have it at number 1.
All right, so your new ranking is Palau, Pearl Islands, the Amazon, Vanuatu, Australia, Borneo, Africa, All-Stars, Marquesas, Thailand.
That is correct.
All right. Coming up next, we got Survivor Guatemala, Season 11. Derek, you know 3 of the players from the season.
I was gonna say, I don't know anything about season 11 that is self-contained with season 11. Like, I don't think to myself, oh well, I know this about season 11, but you say that I know some players and I might know some things, but you're not gonna give anything away. Yep. But for those listening, I don't know if I have any meta spoilers on Survivor Guatemala. I do know that the winner is not in Winners at War. At least I think. I guess I don't know. I have no idea. So if the winner for you listeners is Winners at War, then I will be spoiled after I watch episode 1. But I don't know if I know. So just being honest, I know nothing. But Ryan says I know some players.
I think the fun part about like him seeing Winners at War but not a lot of these earlier seasons is that some of the winners play twice or 3 times or 4 times. Mm-hmm. And
when did they win?
Doesn't mean that they won their first game.
It's true. Derek has no idea. But it'll be fun. I like Guatemala. It's a good season. So we'll have a good time. Mm-hmm. All right. Guys, have anything else?
Nope. I'm excited for 11.
I'm good.
All right. Follow us on Twitter at Castaway Pod. This has been the Castaway Consultants.
Got nothing else for you.
Good night.